Buy cheap and safe NBA 2K22 MT at NBA2King.com. You can use code Excapar, that's EXCAPAR, for 5% off your entire purchase. Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? We are back at it with another tier list, this one being on the best small forwards in 2K22 Myteam. So if you guys are excited, that like button down below, and make sure you guys let me know anybody you think's too high, too low, just right, anything like that, or anybody you think I just completely missed and left off the list down in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to see any of the tier lists, we've so far done obviously the point guards and the shooting guards list. Those will be linked in the description down below, so check them out whenever you're feeling a little spicy and want to see, I guess, the rest of the list, because we got some bangers out there. So anyway, enough talking, and let's show you guys the hard pass tier like we always do, where we're starting off with Sapphire Tony Kukoc. This was a free like challenge reward card that you could get that some people had some fun with. It could be pretty cool. He's basically just like a tall like forward that can shoot essentially, and I just I'm not really excited about it because he doesn't have defense. But he was like, he's a free reward card, so like I get it, I understand it. It's just I'm not really excited about him at all. Like, I can understand why some people like him, but to me, man, James Posey was actually like a halfway decent card last year, or this year, with that like season 2 reward that they gave us. Like, yeah, he's cool, but I just really hate that jumper. It's essentially it. Yeah, I just really don't like his jumper. He's got a little bit of defense, a little bit of finishing, but yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I really just don't like the jumper. Next is my man Harrison Barnes, who actually does have a halfway decent jumper. It's nothing like crazy, no knock your socks off jumper that's just gonna green everything and just be like the best jumper that you've ever used in your life. But it was just all around solid, I guess I'll say. But aside from that, he really wasn't doing anything too crazy. Just kind of one of those, jack of all trades cards that just wasn't, anything like insanely special when you're actually using it. Like, he's not a terrible card. I'm just don't really ever see myself going out of my way to recommend them for you. Next up is my man Franz Wagner. Pretty decent guy all around. For like a Ruby, he's cool, but I just don't love cards you can't even like, you don't even have the ability to like badge up clamps onto them, and that is the exact case for our man Wagner right here. Like, he's actually decent for a Ruby, but yeah, with not even having the ability to like make the defense better, I'm gonna have to hard pass on that one. Next up is my guy Brent Berry. Another case of like, yeah, the dude's actually a insanely good shooter, but just where's the defense? Jump shot 16 is actually a pretty decent jumper as well. Like, it does what it needs to do. It's decently quick. It gets you, some pretty decent greens. It's just, again, it's nothing crazy. It's just a good, okay jumper, and we just don't have defense, which, I mean, it's kind of becoming a trend here. Next up is my man Glenn Robinson. Again, pretty decent jumper, jump shot 13. But there's no defense on Glenn Rice at all. He also doesn't have like quick first step or anything to make it so that he can be like shifty as a, I guess anything other than a shooter, which is kind of tough. So when you're picking up a guy who's supposed to be a shooter, and he just can't really play defense, and there's that guys who arguably can be better shooters than him who can also play defense, I'm gonna have to throw him down there. And last but not least is a card that we actually just got today, literally dropped like a few minutes before I started recording this, in our man's Amethyst George Gervin. He's one of those new like NBA 75 cards that I still don't really understand why they felt like we needed, but he's here. Another version of him. He's alright. Jump shot 40, decent slasher, doesn't really move, doesn't really play defense. I don't really know why he's dropping. And I'll also show you guys everybody in the still decent tier at the same time as well. Starting off with Brandon Ingram. Jumps out 75 on quick is really the main thing saving this guy. And it's an all-around pretty good offensive card. No real defense, but I mean, it's Brandon Ingram. What did you expect? But yeah, he's solid. He's just got a fast jumper. It's like essentially what makes Brandon Ingram. Slasher dribble style also is actually pretty decent. So all around, he's not a bad card. Next up, my man Bobby Jones, kind of the opposite of what we've been saying, where he has all defense, but just has a 33-point shot, which, I mean, come on. We are not doing anything with a 33-pointer. It's not worth it. Bobby Jones is arguably one of the best, if not the best defender all around in the game, but without having a 3 like that, it ain't it. Just, you can just sag off on him completely, just sit in the paint, and defense is so much easier going against this Bobby Jones. Next up, my guy Terrence Davis actually has a pretty fast jumper, has the quick timing and all that, which obviously you gotta love to see, but just again, nothing too crazy, nothing too special. Doesn't really have defense, which is again a theme with these small forwards, apparently, just giving them good offense, no defense. Next up, I got Glenn Robinson III, absolutely insane slasher, but again, not really the greatest at defense. He can actually shoot a little bit as well. His jumper's not too bad. It's always been one of those ones where, you know, he has it, and it's not terrible, but I'm not really loving it. All around, he's a cool card, but again, it's just nothing that I would tell you guys you need to go out of your way and get. Next up, my guy Rolando Blackman, who just has one of the worst jumpers that I think I've used like in 2K. It's just not pretty. It's just not fun to use. He does really quick dribble style, which is nice. You can dribble around a little bit, has a little defense, a little slashing, a little shooting. But that jumper is just so baited, so awkward to time that I just, again, I can't go out of my way and recommend you guys really use it. Next up, my guy Vince Carter, who I think is only a slightly worse version of the Pink Diamond. But with Vince, you kind of get a sluggish slasher who has okay defense, okay shooting, but with slow release. I'm in general not really a big fan of Vince Carter cards whenever they come out. I don't even think I got the Opal or the Dark Matter last year. He's cool. I just don't think he's anything special. Next up, my man Paul Pierce, the Amethyst, who was just a slight step down from his Pink Diamond, but he was a new card that we got from the Signature Series, so I want to shout him out. He has the Paul Pierce jumper on the normal timing, and I think still has like a decent dribble style, but I'm not sure. Yeah, just a slightly worse version of the Pink Diamond. If you use the Pink Diamond or even anything like that, you know what this Paul Pierce does. Next up, my guy Gerald Green, jump shot 70 on quick, is an amazing jumper, and he has great slashing, but no defense. He is a 6'7" guy, so playing the 2 and the 3 is pretty nice, but again, just not even the ability to add clamps just kills him. And last but not least, in this tier, we have George Gervin, who again is a really good card if they would give him some defense and jump shot 41 on the normal timing. The only card that I still use really that has jump shot 40 on the normal timing is my man either Detlef Schrempf and Gary Payton. Those are the only two cards that I still use that have that jumper on that slow of a timing. And just not being able to have defense again, it's just, yeah, I'm good. There's so many cards who are good offensively with no defense that you kind of need something to separate yourself just a little bit. And that actually wraps up our still decent tier, and we can start off our pretty damn solid where we got our man Caron Butler, who again is like that all offense, not really too much defense kind of guy, which, you know, is a bit annoying, but I think Caron Butler has the ability to add clamps and just does it better than some of the other guys. Like, he's a really, really good shooter, a good slasher as well, and can play make. I think comes a quick first step. Like, actually a pretty damn solid card. Have him on my squad. Nice jumper. All right, he's pretty good. Next up, my man Bernard King, kind of like a small forward, more slashing version, or not even a more slashing version, just a small forward essentially version of Clyde Drexler. Jump shot 5, base dribble style, which, yeah, you know, that sucks, but what can you do? Not everybody's going to have the best of the best, you know, animations. It's just kind of how it goes. But he's a good slasher, pretty alright defender, just an okay shooter though. Next up, my man Anthony Edwards. Again, just like Caron Butler, we have a pretty decent jumper, and we have like really, really good just scoring ability. But I think at this point, it's only good enough for pretty damn solid for Anthony Edwards. I think when he first came out, I probably put him in like the Baby Demon, or he could have like, there was an argument for putting him up there, which is nice. But I think at this point, you know, Anthony Edwards, I would just say is a pretty damn good card, but just nothing crazy, you know, because he's got a good jumper and jump shot 80. He's nice, he's consistent, you can add clamps if you want to. He's all right. Next up, my man Richard Jefferson, who, if it weren't for his really slow, completely baited jumper, really would be one of the best cards in the game, because he has, you know, clamps, he has really high, I think at least a Hall of Fame quick first step, I think it is, and good shooting, good slashing, like really good slasher. The only problem with Richard Jefferson is that really baited jumper. Like, it takes forever to get into his jump shot motion, and I'm not living like that these days, which is kind of tough. But he's still, you know, he's a fun card, and, you know, having a guy who can slash as well as he is always, you know, pretty nice. Just not somebody that I'm really looking into using, you know, anymore. It's just, yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, but he can be fun if you can make him work. Next up is my man Paul Pierce, who again is just a slightly better version of his Amethyst. He's got his Paul Pierce jumper on quick this time, which we obviously love to see. And I think the other one has the slasher, whereas this one has the shifty dribble style, which obviously is a massive upgrade. He can speed boost, he can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Not the greatest of slashers, but still a good card. I mean, it's Paul Pierce. He's going to get buckets. Next up, my man Keith Van Horde, one of the worst jumpers in the entire game. But despite that, his main thing is kind of shooting. He was a Hall of Fame sniper and a bunch of other good Hall of Fame badges, and he is a 6'10 small forward, so being able to shoot with that kind of height is always going to be a W. I just wish he didn't have, like, arguably, like, a top 3 worst jumper in 2K, like, history. It sucks. Next up, my guy John Havlicek, same jumper as Karan Butler, I think, and just kind of meant to be one of those like Swiss Army knife small forwards. He literally like can do anything that you need him to, which always is going to be a massive W. He can shoot, he can play make, he can finish pretty well actually, and has good defense just all around. So go John Havlicek. He's just like, you know, not going to be dribbling or speed boosting for it. He's just a good, solid, all-around small forward. Next up, my man Hito Turkoglu. Like, when it comes to getting buckets, Hito is always one of the best. I think this Hito is massively slept on. Yes, he does have, you know, a pretty load-up heavy jumper that obviously has a lot to be desired in LaMarcus Aldridge, but he's got the shifty dribble style and is 6'10", so he just feels smooth. He's a really good offensive guy, and if you want him at the power forward, he just sets screens. He can actually play defense pretty well, even without having clamps. So I think Hito is just, again, one of those most slept-on cards in the game because I personally find him really fun to use. Next up, my guy Grant Hill, who's kind of meant to be, again, one of those like point forwards, Swiss Army knife kind of guys who I really like normally, but with this Grant Hill, yeah, wasn't having the time of my life. I just don't really like him. Jump shot 1 is a tough jumper to really get a lot of people sold on. Doesn't have a great dribble style. Well, he's a good defender, good slasher. He's just not my guy. Next up, my man Glenn Robinson, who was a really good power forward, like honestly one of the best for the longest time. Draft was still, you know, a good mode when Glenn Robinson was on there. Jump shot 29 is great. He's a good, you know, post-game inside finisher and stuff like that as a power forward especially. He's just kind of outdated because he doesn't really have defense, which, you know, sucks because, again, he was one of the best cards, like, in the game for the longest time. He's just kind of fell out of date, which sucks. And last but not least, into our pretty damn solid tier is going to be the man himself, Elgin Baylor. Brook Lopez jumper always has a special place in my heart. Seriously, one of my favorites that I could possibly use. Love it. Good defense, good playmaking. Well, not good defense. Yeah, it's okay. It's good defense because he's got bronze clamps. You know, it's not horrible. It's just nothing, you know, absolutely crazy. Just a good card, fun card. Just has that base dribble style, which, you know, we all absolutely adore. So, yeah, big dub there. Alright, and that actually wraps up our still decent tier, or it's not still decent, our pretty damn solid tier. We can start off onto our baby demons, which is starting with my man Tracy McGrady. Now, this may be a little blasphemous, but I'm not going to put Tracy into the demons tier. I just think the Treyberg base is nice, like, obviously, but the slasher dribble style is good, just nothing crazy. He's a good slasher. He's tall, obviously, which is why a lot of people like him. I just don't think that he's like top tier anymore. I've gone against T-Mac a bunch, and I just really haven't had anybody take over the game with him. He kind of just feels like a cone, which isn't really what you want T-Mac to be on your squad. You know what I mean? It's just personal preference. I'm putting him into the baby demon because he was a bit underwhelming for me. If you still love Tracy McGrady, he's like your guy. You love him. He's on your squad. Good for you. Hope he's having fun. He's still a great card, especially offensively. Just doesn't have the defense that I'm really jumping out to try to use. Just, you know, again, not my guy. Next up is my man Scottie Pippen, one of the best defenders that I have used in my team. Like, the guy is just an absolute god. Scottie is clamps, even though he's saying some crazy stuff. Seems like every other day, which is kind of, you know, wild. But Scottie locks it down, has an okay jumper. It's nothing crazy, but it's still pretty damn good. And I mean, all around, he's not a bad card. So we gotta give Scottie his dubs. He's a good slasher, good defender, good playmaker. I quite like using him. Next up is my guy Mikal Bridges. Oh my lord, I will use this card until we get a better Mikal Bridges, even if it's just off the bench. I just love what this guy can do. One of the best defenders that I've used in my team, and he's an amethyst, which is just crazy, honestly. And then on top of that, he has a great jumper. He has a massive wingspan, even though he's 6'6". He can just block everything, play great defense all around. Just seriously, one of the best cards that I've used. Like, if you are on a budget, Mikal needs to be on your team, period. Speaking of two more budget beasts, we have Saddiq Bey and Matisse Thybulle. Again, two of the best budget cards that I have ever used in my team. Matisse Thybulle is just one of the absolute best lockdown defenders that I've used at the shooting guard position. Literally lets nothing by, and is a pretty decent jumper and jump shot 20 that you can still, you know, space the floor, shoot it when you need it to, and he can actually, you know, dunk a little bit, finish a little bit as well. Just the only thing that you won't be able to do with Matisse is really handle the rock. So if that's kind of the thing that you want to be doing with your shooting guard, Matisse ain't it. But still, really fun, really good shooting guard. And I honestly have had this Matisse lock up Tracy McGrady more times than T-Mac has scored on him, which is just wild. And then with Saddiq Bey has jump shot 31, which is great. Really good all-around defender, plays great at the 4, great at the 3. Just, again, one of those Swiss Army knife guys who just literally does whatever the hell you need him to do and does it at a damn high level, which I love. Next up is my man Jason Tatum. The only thing that's holding Tatum back is, again, just a slow jumper, a baited jumper that, you know, if you, you know, let slip a little bit, can shoot really well. just you have to make sure that you're open. You just can't really take anything that's too contested because it's very easy to contest him. So just beware of that. But all around, he's still good aside from that because he's a good shooter once you get him open. He can finish well, good post guy, good defender, good playmaker. He's a good small forward all around, to be honest. Next up is my man Jarvis Hayes, who's kind of just a more offensive version of Matisse Thybulle. A lot of people obviously have used Matisse and maybe haven't used Jarvis, but they have the same jumper. It's just that Jarvis actually has Hall of Fame catch and shoot on his signed version, which is awesome to see. Like, actually kind of goated. One of my favorite cards to use because of that. And then still has some damn good defense all around to go with it. Just a great card, and again, one that's pretty slept on because everybody was kind of focused on the higher ones, or even like the budget guys like Draymond to use instead of my main man Jarvis, who's actually becoming one of my favorite budget guys, to be honest. Next up is my man Gerald Wallace, just an all-around just great card. He's a good shooter with jump shot 4 on the normal timing, is a absolutely amazing defender, literally locks everything up, like similar to Kawhi in his just all-around defense ability, which obviously is good company to be in, and is an amazing slasher, pretty good playmaker as well. Like, all-around Joe Wallace is a beast. I'm just not too close to getting him myself, which kind of sucks. Next up is my man Dominique Wilkins, who kind of has been one of the slept on cards this year because obviously, as you would expect with a Dominique, he is an amazing slasher. Jump shot 8 isn't, everybody's favorite jumper. I think it's a decent one. It's all right. It's not obviously one of the best in the game, but it's still damn good. It's still going to get you some buckets, and you can still, cook a little bit with it, which is nice. And he can play defense now with this pink diamond. So, Dominique, he's a slept on demon. And then last but not least is my man Chris Mullin, who I think a lot of us kind of know about at this point. I mean, the dude has some of the best shooting in the game right now. Like, seriously, one of the best just bucket getters that we have, which is always going to be, sought after. Good defender as well. Just not really a guy that, again, you really want to have, moving the rock or do anything like that. But, Lord, if you leave him open, it's a green. Like, just straight up. And that wraps up our baby demon tier. We can move on to the demons, starting off with Carmelo Anthony. I thought I would keep it light for this one. It's just kind of, expected. Carmelo Anthony has been, honestly, one of the best small forwards since he came out this year. Since you were able to get him, I still use him as my starting small forward unless I need some, more buckets off the bench, and I put him back there. Like, Carmelo Anthony's jumper is just money. One of the best shooters I've used, especially off the dribble, which is just crazy. If you badge him up as some of the best defense in the game, I honestly have gotten blocked once using this Carmelo Anthony, like over 100, 200 games that I've played with him, which is just honestly kind of crazy if you think about it. He can still playmate, still plays in the post well. Like, literally everything about this Carmelo Anthony is just a massive dub. Once you badge up that defense, like, you gotta have him on your squad. Next up is my man Andrew Wiggins. Just honestly kind of crazy. I would say I just prefer this Andrew Wiggins to Tracy McGrady. He has jump shot 22, which isn't as good as the Trey Burke base, but it's still damn solid. So, I don't really mind it. And then on top of that, this dude just has crazy defense, which is why I think I prefer him a bit to somebody like T-Mac, is just because that defense just goes dummy. And this year, I love defense. And it's just one of those dudes where you get to the basket and he is dunking over everything, which is just crazy to see and just super fun to use. This Wiggins is a god. Plus, he's like, 6'8", can play the 2 guard as well. Like, yeah. He's a god. He's a god. Next up, my guy, Sean Marion, one of the best just pure defenders in my team right now. Like, the guy, seriously, is just absolute clamps. You gotta love him whenever you put him on the court. The dude's getting a steal, getting a block, getting something like that. As a good jumper, can play make. And, again, it's just the defense on this Sean Marion guard is just crazy, especially when you're the one controlling him. Next up, kind of crazy that this guy is available in Triple Threat Online right now, even though he is rare as hell, and that is Paul George. Dude is just a menace. There isn't anything that Paul George really can't do. Just, again, that jack-of-all-trades kind of guy. He can shoot with a great jumper, has a pretty decent dribble style, and can move around. He's obviously got crazy defense because, it's a Paul George card, and the slashing to go along with it is damn good. Like, all around, Paul George is a beast. Next up, the Galaxy Opal LeBron. The big, moneymaker from the set was LeBron. If we're being honest, like, yeah, a lot of people want Steph, but most people are trying to go out there and get that LeBron James, which is to be expected. LeBron is just the best card at being good at everything. If we're really looking at it that way. Yeah, his jumper is not the best, but he's damn good at it. He may not be the best slasher, but he's going to be damn good at it. May not be the best defender, but he's still going to be one of the best in the game. He's going to be one of the best playmakers. He's just one of the best cards at being good at goddamn everything, and is always annoying. Like, LeBron, he's a demon. Let's be honest. If you think LeBron isn't like one of the top cards, I don't know what to tell you. Next up, my man Kevin Durant at the moment. Obviously, with KD, you get an absolutely buttery smooth jumper, and this one actually has the shifty dribble style, which is kind of crazy. You can just get your buckets. Has silver clamps. You can play some good defense all around. Like KD, he's just one of the best pure bucket getters in the game, and he's like 6'9", which is crazy. Next up is my favorite card right now in my team, and that is Kawhi Leonard. Like, everything that I do has this Kawhi on a squad, and he is cooking up for me. Seriously, the best defender that personally I've used. Like, anytime he's in a passing lane, I'm getting a steal. He can block everybody, hold everybody out on the perimeter, just do whatever the hell he wants. He's a great shooter with that Ray Allen base. I had Hall of Fame blinders to mine, and he just literally doesn't miss. Kawhi, the dude's a demon. If you have, like, around 200 KMT, pick him up, throw him on a squad. It's a dub. Next up is my man Jimmy Butler. Honestly, probably the second best defender that I've used, behind like maybe, or second or third behind maybe like Kawhi, Scotty, if you want to talk about it that way. Has jump shot 22, which is great. I don't really love the fact that he has that power dribble style, but you can make it work. Just again, one of those pure 3-and-D guys that is amazing, but still has playmaking, still has finishing, still just a really damn good card. And last but not least is my man Detlef Schrempf, who is currently my starting power forward right now. I mean, the guy Detlef Schrempf is a 6'10" guy with jump shot 40, great catch and shoot jumper that has amazing defense, Hall of Fame catch and shoot, and sniper, and can just do whatever the hell he wants. One of my favorite shooters in the game, one of my favorite all-around defenders, has that gold limitless spot up, so he's great in clutch time. Just an all-around really, really fun card, because who doesn't love a 6'10" small forward, power forward? Like, it's always fun. So that wraps up our small forward tier list. If you guys did enjoy, leave that like button again. If you guys think I have some guys too high up, too down, let me know down in the comment section below. We can talk about it. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new, and like the video if you guys did enjoy. I think we already talked about it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.